Hey, Team Fit to Serve, Eric here. Okay, tonight we are going to talk about goal setting. I have been reading Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis, and the chapter I was reading today is talking about choosing one dream and going all in on that. And she has a really great activity for working through how to choose that one dream. And I just wanted to read through this with you and work through this with you, partially because I have yet to do this, write out my dreams, my goals at this time of the year. I did this in like January, but I want to do it again now. So I wanted to do a Zoom and invite you all to do this with me. So be prepared with your pen and paper. We're going to do a little journaling. We might not do it right on this call. You can pause and journal and then keep listening. So why is this important? Because if we're not focused, it's just like running around like a chicken with your head chopped off. So we need to know what we want so we know what we can focus on. So we know what we need to do to get to those goals that we want. So let me read to you a little bit. Okay, you can only focus on one goal at a time. If I were allowed to put emojis into a nonfiction book, you better believe there'd be a little aggressive hand clap in between each one of those words. This one is aimed at all my dreamers who are like, I want to author a book, but I'm also a singer-songwriter, and I'm thinking about getting my real estate license. And I also want to work with homeless animals and start a charity to bring endangered species into senior citizens' homes to comfort the aged. No. First of all, even if your list isn't quite so elaborate, even if all the things on it support one another, even then, it's not going to be effective. If it were effective, it would have worked already. Secondly, that list isn't one filled with dreams. That is a list filled with some cool ideas. You need to understand the difference. When I say dream, I mean something you greatly desire. I mean that you're fantasizing about something and imagining what it would be like regularly. I mean that when you think about it, your heart beats faster and your palms get sweaty like an Eminem song. I don't get this joke, so I'm just going to pass on that. Let's see, back to the dream versus great idea thing. When people list off the 19 things they're dreaming of, my response is always the same. Which one makes you the most excited? If you could choose only one of them to work on for the next decade, which would it be? If only one of them could be successful, which would you choose? The thing is, they always have one, always. But they surround their single greatest dream with a bunch of great ideas. They list out all sorts of possibilities because that way they can say it's all just for fun. That way their options are endless. That way if chasing the dream becomes too difficult, they can quit and tell themselves it wasn't what they truly wanted anyway. See, if you only pick one dream, there's no plan B. If you want to take the island, burn the boats. If you want to actually achieve your dreams, you can only pursue one at a time. I believe completely in going all in on one single dream. And when you achieve that one, then you can move on to the next. But splitting your attention is splitting your focus and your energy, which means you're not likely to make much progress. When it comes to personal growth, women often approach it like a buffet. They want to work on a little bit of this and a little bit of that. They reason that all of the areas of their lives are important. And so they should try to fix them all at once. Maybe that's possible for some people, but I can tell you what's worked for me, in contrast, is focus. I have a whole life outside of the pursuit of my dreams. So do you, I assume. I've got a marriage and children and a career and groceries and dishes and 1,000 other things. I don't have time to waste time. I'm going to fight for my right to pursue something new for myself. I need it to be as effective as possible. And to be effective, it's got to be totally focused. Okay? You guys got that? So you're still going to have a life outside. of that one dream you're focusing on, but you need to be focused on one main thing. Just going to get into this a little bit about how it will affect other parts of your life. So in the past, whenever I set out to start my diet and my exercise program and finally write my novel, my energy and enthusiasm wouldn't survive the week. There were too many priorities, too many things to keep track of. I got overwhelmed easily and couldn't keep up with it all. Have you guys had that happen? I think of just when I started on this journey of fitness and nutrition and Shakeology, I really did just kind of focus on one thing at a time. First, it was getting my Shakeology in daily. Then my goal was to work out 4 days a week. And I don't think I added the nutrition component until probably 3 to 4 months into working on this. You just can't focus on it all at once or it gets to be too much. So it's okay to focus on just one thing. When everything is important, nothing is important. I found success when I learned to focus, and focus requires choosing one thing. It's hard for first-timers to commit to only one area when they're passionate about growth. What they don't realize is that a goal is like a harbor. So pay attention to this. I like this idea. When the tide rises in the harbor, all the boats rise. This amazing thing happens when you start to grow in one area of your life. Other areas improve with it. If you drop a handful of pebbles into a lake, you'll move the water around a little bit. If you drop a boulder into a lake, meaning if you put all your energy into one area, the impact is incredible. The ripple effects of that choice spread out in all directions. For clarity's sake, I'd like to mention that it's very possible to grow in multiple areas of your life once you've achieved success in one area and established it as a habit. For instance, I am able to maintain my health and fitness regimen while pursuing a new goal because health and fitness are habits in my life now. But if I had tried to conquer them simultaneously or attempted to take them on while starting my company, let's say I wouldn't have been successful. Okay, so don't think that you can only focus on one thing at a time, like, okay, I'm just going to work on health and fitness. Once I reach that goal, then I'm going to start working on our financial goals, but then I won't be able to focus on health and fitness anymore. No, that's not how it goes. If you focus on reaching your goals for your health and fitness and make it a habit, you can continue that while then working towards other goals, okay? So the question then becomes, how do you decide? How do you pick the right thing to focus on next? Well, if you're me, you narrow it down using a process I like to call 10-10-1. So this is what we're going to work on. If you've never heard of 10-10-1 before, that's because I made it up. But I did trademark it because it's a good idea and I'm not a dummy. Like most things in life, I figure out a process that works for me, and when pressed to explain it, I write it out and give it a snappy title. See my entire publishing career. 10 years, 10 dreams, 1 goal. So who do you want to be in 10 years? What are the 10 dreams that would make that a reality for you? Which one of those dreams are you going to turn into a goal and focus on next? So let's look at it a bit closer. And now this is where I want you to be sure to have your papers out and be ready to pause and do a little journaling, okay? So 10 years. I like to encourage people to start by closing their eyes and imagining the best version of themselves. Imagine that a decade of time has gone by and you are living your best possible ideal for yourself and your life. Dream big. Don't put any restriction on it. Don't overthink it. Just allow yourself to envision the most magnificent possible future version of yourself. A decade in the future, what is the very best version of yourself doing? What does she look like? How does she go about her day? How does she speak to people she loves? How is she loved in return? What kind of clothes does she wear? What kind of car does she drive? Is she a great cook? Does she love to read? Does she love to run? So, closing your eyes, thinking about this, get as specific as you possibly can. Where do you go on vacation? What's your favorite restaurant to eat at now that your life is different? What kind of food do you consume? What does it feel like to go throughout your day? Are you optimistic? Are you encouraging to others? After a decade of working on yourself and growing as a woman, how much joy is there in your life? Who's in your life? What's your week like? How do you treat people? How do they treat you? Just let your dreams run absolutely wild. Are you happy? Are you energetic? Are you driven? Do you feel ambitious? What's your relationship like with your family members? Do you own a home? And what does it look like? I know I definitely have this in mind. Do you have kids? Do you have a family? Are you married? What's the best of the best? Now go bigger. What's a bigger version of the best version of you? Living every day in the best state that you know how to be. What do you do for work? What is the highest value that your future self holds? Is it family? Is it loyalty? Is it growth? Be as specific as you can be. Okay, now, without a second of judgment or overthinking it, but don't worry about how realistic it is or anything like that. Write down everything that you just thought of as fast as you can. Okay, hit pause on this, write it down. Don't want you to forget any of it. I want that future version of you to be seared inside your brain. So go. The best version of me is, or when I'm at my best, I blank. Okay, pause this and do that. Okay, I'm going to take a drink. Okay, hopefully you wrote that down and actually pause this. I hope you take the time to do that. So this wasn't the time to think it through or tell yourself to slow down. So hopefully this helped you to paint a clear picture in your mind of a lot of different awesome things your future self can take part in. So do this once or twice a year. Think about what you really want, write it down. You can even do like you did in 5th grade and get a big poster board, put some pictures up on it of what your dreams and vision are. So that's the first step, is to think about where you want to be in 10 years. Now, it's time to write out the dreams and narrow it down. Okay, so now we turn the 10 years into 10 dreams. If those 10 dreams came true, they would make your vision a reality. So if you saw a future that was completely financial free, maybe your dreams would be things like making a 6-figure salary, being completely debt-free, etc. But maybe your future dream self is also healthy and happy and energetic. Add becoming a marathon runner and vegetarian to the mix. The important thing is, again, to be specific. The list of dreams is how that future vision manifests for you. Okay, so start thinking about this. Start writing this down. I'll read a little bit here for you to help get your mind going, but be writing down what your 10 dreams are. And you might get a few more, but then we're going to focus it back to just 10. So often when we do this, we come up with more than 10, but it's essential to narrow it down. Focus matters. So choose 10 dreams that if they were to come true would make your future self real. Now, write down those 10 dreams in a notebook every single day and write them as if they've already happened. So you don't just write down, I'm going to be a 6-figure earner, or I'm going to be a patient mom. You write down as if it already has happened. I earn 6 figures a year. I am a patient mom. I feed my whole family healthy, organic, grass-fed meat and vegetables and fruits and all of those things as if you're already doing it. So if you say, I'm going to, you're telling your mind that you're going to do something. It's not especially powerful. But if you tell yourself, I have $1 million in the bank, that's specific. That's an outcome. That's a direction to head. Going to is something in the future. Have is present tense, which means your subconscious starts focusing on how to make that real right now. So I don't actually have $1 million in the bank yet, but I'm working on it. That's what Rachel Hollis says. For me, I'm not actually a 6-figure earner yet, but I'm working on it. All right, so some exceptional items on her list are, I'm an exceptional wife. So one reason you say I am an exceptional wife is that, and you write it down every day, that when you write that down each day, it's going to trigger you to think through how you can be an exceptional wife. What can you do right then? So be careful about the words you use. Make sure they're good and strong and powerful. Don't just say, I'm a good wife. I'm a great wife. I'm an exceptional wife. That Rachel talks about how that helps her to think in that moment, how can she take action on that? How can she be an exceptional wife? Should she text her husband and tell him how hot he looked in those pants, and that she appreciates him and loves him? That wouldn't happen every day if she didn't have that prompt that she was writing down each day. So write it down every day, your 10 dreams, and who knows what they are for you. Hers, she's an exceptional wife. She only flies first class. She has $1 million in the bank. Yours might be totally different. That's okay. Some of mine that I think of off the top of my head is that I'm a 6-figure earner, that we provide a wonderful Lutheran education for our children, that we feed our whole family very healthy, whole foods. So write that down for you every day, your 10 dreams. But now, let's see, we're going to skip through some of this. Okay, now we're going to work on thinking of the one goal. So I want you to ask yourself right now, what is one goal, one thing you can do that will get you closer to the 10 years from now version of yourself the fastest? What is one goal out of the 10 you just finished identifying that you can work on this year? Think it over, then write it down. To achieve a goal, you need to make sure you have clarity on 2 things. What are the specifics? How will you measure your progress? So it has to be specific. You can't just say, I want to lose weight. Okay, 1 pound, 100 pounds, 200 pounds. Be specific. How much do you want to weigh? How much do you want to lose? Or I want to save money. I want to be better at managing my money. No, get specific. I want to save this much, or I want to be debt-free and know how much debt you have at the moment and where you're going. So make sure they are measurable. You have to be able to judge whether you're making progress or getting closer to where you want to be. A lot of people also say that a goal has to have a time limit, but I don't like that for personal goals because I feel like it sets you up for failure. If you tell yourself you've got to be in shape by the end of February, and then you get to mid-February and you haven't done it, you beat yourself up. The intention here is that working on your ideal self is a lifelong process to become who you were meant to be. Lifelong processes don't have a time limit. All that matters is that you keep at it. We're not looking for perfection, we're looking for consistency. So don't just know what your goal is going to be. A lot of you probably already know what you want to achieve. And if that was all it took, you'd already have claimed it on your own. You've also got to know why you want it so badly. You need to define why it must be yours and use it as leverage to motivate yourself when you want to give up. So there will be times when you want to give up. Maybe you don't want to eat healthy. That pizza looks really good and you want that Mountain Dew. Or you just don't want to get up and work your business or stay up later to put time into your business, or you really want to call in sick to work. Whatever it is, make sure that you know why you are going for it so that you don't give up. So get specific about it. Rachel talks about how her parents fought a lot. They punched holes in the wall. They fought over money a lot. So now when she has that goal of wanting to be financially free and not stress over money, it's not just because being rich would be cool. It's because she doesn't want her kids to experience that same lack that she did with her family. And I think about it for me, and why do I want to feed my family healthy whole foods? Because I saw the effects of not feeding my family healthy. I saw Nara not getting good nutrition and living in pain and constantly having rashes on her face and tummy aches. And I don't want to have to sacrifice my family's health and my family feeling good because we don't have the money to, or the gumption to eat healthy with them. So it is enough to want to lose weight, maybe if that's your example, so that you can be able to keep up with your kids or have energy for your life. That's leverage. It's not enough to say I want to be rich because I think that would be awesome. It is enough to know what it's like to go without as a kid and to promise yourself that you're never going to live that kind of life again once you have the ability to control it. You have to know where you're going, and you have to know your why. For those of you who start and stop, start and stop, start and stop, if you've gone off your resolution 50 times before, it's because your why wasn't strong enough. So you have to have the leverage, and you have to know your why, or you will never make change. You have to know what to focus on, or you will never make progress. So do those things. Think about where you want to be 10 years from now. Write out 10 dreams that, if achieved, would get you to that place. And then figure out what is the one that, if achieved, would help you get to the rest. How does she say that? One goal, one thing you can do that will get you closer to the 10 years from now version of yourself the fastest. Okay? So work on those things. And then once you have that top goal, think about why. Why is that important to you? Make sure it's strong so that you know why you aren't going to quit, even when it's hard. All right. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you have a great night or a great day, whenever it is for you at this time. All right. See y'all.